Imagine receiving a call that your child's school is on lockdown. The panic sets in as you scramble for answers, only to find out that your worst fears as a parent have come true. A shooting has just occurred, and you don't know if your child is alive or not. Now, pause for a moment and consider this unsettling reality. While we focus on gun control and policy changes, we are overlooking a very uncomfortable truth. What if the key to truly preventing these tragedies is not in legislation, but in a profound shift on how we address mental health, one that requires us to confront our own discomforts and take meaningful action? Let me ask the audience a question. If you or someone close to you have been a victim of bullying, please raise your hand. See, everyone is affected. Now I know what you might be thinking. How could a man of my size, being 6'9", know anything about being bullied? The truth is this: my height has been a blessing for most of my life. But 20 years ago, it felt like the greatest curse in the world. No matter where I went, elementary, middle, high school, public, private, the humiliation was the same. People called me names that I can't repeat on this stage. They judged me for what I looked like, not for who I was. Imagine feeling invisible, despite being 6'9". That was my reality, watching others suffering and being bullied, while my own pain went unnoticed. The counselors, the teachers, the coaches, all of the adults. Perhaps they judged me too, thinking how can someone his size could possibly be bullied? Their doubts made me feel even more isolated, as if my heart was just crying out in silence. Every single day, my soul yearned for something other than the sorrow and the sadness that seemed to define my very existence. I was just a 9-year-old boy battling extreme depression and not wanting to wake up in the morning. That's the case with so many other young adults and teenagers suffering similar pain, hopeless and desperate for their suffering to end. In a world seemingly devoid of compassion, what hope is there for a better tomorrow? I remember waking up one day thinking that this cannot go on any longer. I was tired of feeling worthless, that I had no value, and that I had nothing to offer to the world. As my depression grew even worse, I came to a very cold realization. I was either going to hurt myself or hurt back those that hurt me. You see, this personal struggle led me to understand something much deeper, something that affects all of us. Let's take a moment and look at the broader picture. This past April marks 25 years since the Columbine High School shooting. Since then, there have been over 400 school shootings, affecting more than 378,000 students. Now, students from both Columbine and Parkland have testified before Congress. And even though there have been more awareness programs created, as well as more comprehensive gun legislation being passed, school shootings have increased. Have our efforts even made a difference? The cold fact is this: bullying has been linked as one of the top causes for school shooters. Now, this brings us to a profound realization about ourselves and the power that we must change inside of us. While we focus on these policy changes, we must focus on what's inside of us. There's various strategies that I can talk about that can be implemented right away, such as adding more counselors and therapists and psychologists. But even with these changes, it is not enough. There is a much deeper layer that we must dive into. Let's take a moment to understand why bullying is so pervasive. This is where we need to shift our perspective. We have to change our paradigm. Albert Einstein said, "You cannot solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it." Why is bullying so common? Not just in grade school, but in workplace environments of every age category and seemingly everywhere people interact. The bullying problem comes down to this. We are suffering a consciousness crisis within humanity. You see, we are not taught that our natural behavior as a species is to act out in the lowest level of consciousness, which is fear. People tend to project that fear without even knowing it. That person's too tall, too short, too skinny, too fat, too white, too black. Without even trying to understand each other, they judge each other without even knowing who they even are. This lack of awareness is what must shift. We must help transition our youth from a state of mindlessness to mindfulness as early as possible. The solution is not arming the teachers. It's disarming the hearts of the students that are suffering. It's understanding their inner struggle and helping them connect on a deeper level. This brings us to a profound realization about our humanity. Humans experience a conflict inside, a kind of a split how the way they think and the way that they feel. To stop school shootings, we must find unity within ourselves. We should teach our children to understand their inner strength, the power that they have to change the way that they feel, and how they act on those feelings. In 1959, and in an interview with Dr. Carl Jung, he said, "We need a deeper understanding of human nature, because the only real danger that exists is man himself." In 1995, researcher and psychiatrist Dr. David Hawkins created a map which shows different levels of human consciousness, or human awareness. Now, this map ranges from lower levels like hate, fear, and anger, to higher levels like love and gratitude and kindness. It is these things which help us to understand ourselves, to help us push forward. Now, according to Hawkins, lower levels of awareness are linked to negative feelings, harmful thoughts, and a lack of empathy. Bullying and school shootings always happen when people are in these lower states of mind. According to Hawkins' research, we must understand why people lead, what thoughts lead to these behaviors and actions. To prevent bullying, we must help foster an environment that encourages higher levels of awareness, like empathy, understanding, and emotional intelligence. By focusing on these positive qualities, we can tackle the root causes as towards why bullying happens, as well as its extreme violence in schools and in our communities. Let's take a moment to reflect on this and see how we can use these insights to create real change. Ending school shootings isn't just about policy changes or security measures. It's about changing how we all think and feel. It's understanding why violence happens and then responding with kindness, empathy, and smarter solutions. Imagine a world where every child feels safe, important, and cared for. Together, let's use our shared strength to build a future where school shootings are no longer a reality. Instead, let's use our schools and make them environments of learning, growth, and hope for all generations to come. To all of the adults that are listening to me right now, stop waiting for another school shooting. Stop asking, why did this happen? When the answer is in plain sight. Thank you.